Ferris, Cliff, Dave, and Billy. We are on the BDR, and I am riding my new to me 2017 Yamaha XT 250, and I am in love. This bike is just, this is the right tool for the job. So a little surprised about the BDR. We've been on it for, I don't know, well over an hour, and the dirt just pretty much started. I am absolutely loving this little bike. It just smiles all around. So we started in Damascus. We met there. There were some very threatening looking clouds, so I didn't want to get the camera out because that's a sure way to make sure that you get wet, is pull out the camera when there are clouds in the sky. But now there's some blue skies, and this is just so much fun. So we started in Damascus, and just a couple miles outside of town is where we picked up the BDR, and it was pretty much paved roads until a little bit ago. Went through the town of Marion, which is really neat. They have the back of the dragon. But let me just tell you how much I love this little bike. I picked it up at Brushy Mountain Power Sports earlier this week. I guess it's technically earlier this week. And I rode it home. Silly me, I should have checked the pressure. I should know. Ooh. There we go. I should have checked the pressure on the tires, because the front tire, when I checked it last night, had 8 pounds of pressure, or 8 psi, and the rear I think had 12, and the front's supposed to run 18 on the low end all the way up to 21, and then on the rear it can run 21 to 25, I believe. I don't know, I checked the manual and also checked the frame, but the tires are knobby tires, and they're mismatched tires. On the front I have a Pirelli, and on the rear I have a Dunlop, but apparently that is like the ideal setup for this bike, because from what I've been told, the front end, if you have the Dunlop on the front, it'll walk funny, whatever that means, when you're on hard ground. And if you run the Pirelli on the back, it doesn't have enough traction. So the tires seem almost brand new. They were manufactured in 2019, so they're not, but the bike doesn't have a lot of miles, just a little over 3,000 miles. And I've put a couple hundred of those on it. Man, I'm having so much fun on this little bike. So this is part of section 1 of the Mid-Atlantic BDR. BDR stands for Backcountry Discovery Routes, and so far so good. man, it just like rolls right over everything. So I know from the video it's difficult to see the elevation change, but oh, they're camping with their horses. The campfire smells good. I know it's difficult to see, but this route winds in and out of the mountains, so it's lots of switchbacks, lots of steep elevation changes up and down, but the road is in excellent condition. A little bit of washboard, a few like potholes, some rocks that are sticking up, but really great condition. So our plan is to ride today to Covington, Virginia, where we're going to spend the night, and then tomorrow get up and ride some more. But we're going to be doing section 1 and 2. And I'm just so happy because this is just fun. This is so much fun. It's really cool because all the training that I've received on these bigger bikes, it all translates onto the little ones. The only thing, ooh, big bump. The only thing that is, I'm not feeling quite secure in the bike, stand up on the pegs. They're just so little, and I know that they're engineered and made for someone that's, you know, could be a lot bigger than me, but it's just, I don't know. I think I made changes for some aftermarket ones that are a little bit wider, so I feel a little more secure, but you know, standing up, it's the right size. I guess it's just gonna take, you know, time doing it, because I feel better now. Each time I stand up, I feel a little more comfortable. I mean, the bike is so nimble that really, I mean, sitting down is fine. It's carrying me right through all this, and yeah, I'm definitely not flying through here, but I'm maintaining a pretty good speed, going between 35 and 45 miles an hour. Well, I don't know if I've gotten up to 45 yet back here, but between 35 and 40 is a really good cruising speed, and then at these switchbacks slow down drastically. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Woo! Yeah, that's weird. It's like, yeah, some weird ruts there. So we're climbing, but I mean, the clutch on this bike it's a little 5-speed, but super easy to manage. And once I put the correct tire pressure in, riding on the road really isn't bad either. I haven't gotten it above 65 yet. At least with the proper tire pressure. With the low tire pressure, holy crap, it was very squirrely. In fact, I was mostly concerned about that. I'm like, how am I going to make it on all the paved roads today? But all it took was the correct tire pressure. And I haven't lowered it. Like, I don't have it on the low end. I put it right at the high range. It's working well. But I mean, look at this. It just like rolls right over all of these ruts and washboards. Oh my gosh, Mackenzie, you would be so proud. God, it's beautiful. The weather is absolutely awesome. So, whee! What a cool place to live. Pauley Lane. Oh, very, very cool. So the routes for the BDR are all available online. But man, I feel so much more confident. Like, I feel comfortable picking a line. I know where I want my motorcycle to go. And, you know, it's in my muscle memory. If I don't know what to do and things are getting squirrely, I'm going to pull in that clutch and get it to stop. Big old rut. But man, it just pushes right through. That was a big old stick that just blew up on me. All right. It's definitely rougher down here, but nothing that this little bike can't handle. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. So now we're down a little valley. All of these roads that are twisting through the mountains, most of them have been following a river or a stream or creek of some sort. And I don't really think there is a stoplight up here. I think that is just a sign. Now we're headed back up. Oh man, this is what I wanted. When I said I want to do adventure riding, I want to go out and have adventures. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. My name is Jordan, and I am obsessed with everything on two wheels. I learned how to ride during COVID in the summer of 2020, and my life changed. Bought a Harley Davidson Sport Glide that I have ridden all over the place and absolutely love. But then I got a little sport bike. Got a 2009 Suzuki SV650. I picked it up when I went shopping at Cycle Gear to get a pair of boots. I ended up buying a motorcycle from a woman who works there and absolutely loved the bike. But when I first got it, I rode it around a few times in Charlotte, and I did not enjoy it because no place fun to ride it there. And when I decided that I was going to sell my house and move up to the mountains, took it out on those mountain roads, and man, that just opened up my world even more. So really enjoyed that. But very shortly after moving up to the Blue Ridge Mountains in Ashe County, North Carolina, I realized that there was a lot of gravel, and I would find myself going out on all these great rides, either on my Harley or my sport bike, and end up on gravel, and after riding a couple of miles on gravel, either give up and turn around or just push through and really just spend a whole lot of time praying getting through that. I realized I'm gonna have to do something, because I don't want to keep turning around, and I don't want to be anxious that I'm gonna get on this awesome route and then run into gravel and have issues. So decided that I needed to learn how to ride a dual sport bike. So I, do what I do. Started doing some research and talking to people that, I really respect, who have been riding a lot longer than me and have, just awesome skills. And it was recommended that I train with Mark Brown. He has an awesome training program called Moto Mark 1 out of Burlington, North Carolina. They teach street, they teach, off-road, dual sport, all kinds of great trainings. And Mark is just an incredible human being. Is one of the nicest people you will ever meet, and just, such a strong character. I really admire him. Anyway, he has been leading the safety escort for the Richard Petty Drive Across America. It's a fundraiser that happens every year, and Mark and his crew have been leading the safety, making sure that all of those riders who are riding across the country for charity, many of them not really used to riding that kind of distance that long and that far, his group makes sure that everyone is, ready for the task, and that they stay safe along the way. Anyway, it was recommended to me that I take his off-road class, and so of course I signed up really quick, and then realized, holy shit, I need to bring my own motorcycle. And so I started looking, and I had been looking at a lot of different bikes, and I went to Motorcycles Charlotte, and I was pretty close to pulling the trigger on a Triumph Tiger, and ended up talking to my friend John, who has the BMW 800 GS that I own now, and I bought it from him. So I ended up buying that bike to take the class, and so I went up to Virginia, because that class was held on Penmerrill Horse Farm, which is a really cool place. So I did that class, learned a lot. Oh, I thought I needed to be in a lower gear, but I guess not. So I learned a whole lot at that class on my BMW, but that bike is so heavy, I just didn't feel comfortable practicing it by myself. And so, got the skills, but then did not really have time to practice it. I didn't have the seat time, and so ended up losing those skills, or at least, I had them in my head, but hadn't practiced them at all. And then I ended up meeting Ferris, who's leading this ride, and Cliff, who's behind me. Ended up meeting them when I was out just riding on pavement one day in Morganton, out on 181. Met him at a store and we exchanged information, and I started riding with them. First time I went out, huge success. It was, a whole lot of fun. It was hard work though. That bike is big, and having to move and maneuver it is a lot more difficult than a little bike like this. So I found myself, just physically exhausted and mentally exhausted, but loving it. So the next time that we went out, we went on a bunch of other different roads outside of Morganton, and one of them's old Highway 105. That didn't go so well. Ended up jumping off the trail and whiskey throttling it right into a tree, and fractured a bone and sprained some other it was a mess. But anyway, I don't give up, and especially if something's hard, for whatever reason, it makes me want to do it more. So I just signed up for more classes and started going to the BMW Performance Center down in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Took the first class out there, and even though I'd planned to ride a smaller bike, they talked me into riding the 1250 GS, which is a whole lot easier than my 800. Just the engineering is pure magic, and the low boxer motor, it's just so well balanced. It's steep. So anyway, so I did that class, and I realized that I still had a little PTSD going from the trees from my accident, and so I decided it would be a good idea to continue training, and Mackenzie Tricka agreed to do a private lesson with me. So I went down to the Performance Center again and had a private lesson, which was also on a 1250 GS. But the last time that I went riding, Cliff let me ride his little DRZ. I don't know what size it is. Maybe it's a 300 or 350. Anyway, he let me borrow his little bike and had a great time riding it. And we have this trip planned for a while, which I was planning to do on my 800 GS. And then as I started to think about it, I decided that I really wanted to do it on a smaller bike first, because I really do feel like I need to practice a lot and get things into muscle memory before putting it on the big bike. So I do know that the 1250 is a very well engineered magical machine, but that's not all adventure bikes, and I want to have skills where I could get onto any bike and be able to handle it. And so I think that for me, everyone's different, but for me, I think the way that's going to happen is I'm going to have to really get used to doing things on a smaller bike first. So I talked to Chris to see if I could borrow, he's got an extra bike, he's got a small DRZ as well. I was going to ride his bike, and then that left my 800 open, so I invited my friend Dave, who I know really does want to get an adventure bike. Thought this is a great way for him to see if that's really what he wants to do. He can ride mine, and he's doing great. Be interesting to see at the end of this ride if he still wants to have an adventure bike or stick to his sport riding. So anyway, I've been looking at, just different smaller bikes to get, and a friend recommended this exact model, a Yamaha XT 250, used one, something that I could pick up inexpensive to see if I really like it and just practice and not be afraid to ride around by myself, because if I drop this bike, I could pick it up by myself, but I'm hoping I don't drop it. I haven't dropped it yet, and I'm really happy about that. I started looking online to find this bike and realized that they happened to have one that had just come in at Brushy Mountain Power Sports. Reached out to Dakota, and he and I worked out a deal, went down there and bought it. Tim helped me finish up the paperwork so Dakota could sell another bike. And I parked my Harley in their overflow parking and drove it home. I do have to say, with the low tire pressure, and that's on me. I cannot rely on other people to tell me that the bike is okay before I climb on, because you know what? Only one person riding this, and I'm responsible for my own safety, so that's on me. But riding it home, I was like, man, I can't wait to get this on the dirt, because on the concrete it's just freaking squirrely. It was all over the place. But now that it's got correct tire pressure, this is very comfortable, and it's light enough. If I wanted to, I could get a carrier for the back of my SUV. I don't even need a trailer to bring it around. I could just get one of those little carriers where you roll it on up, and it's like a little ramp that goes, perpendicular to the car, right on the back, and then I can drive it out places. So, because the knobby tires, this is fine on the road, but they'll wear out a whole lot faster on pavement. So anyway, I'm just happy, very, very, very happy with this purchase. I really feel like I could take this motorcycle anywhere. I do recognize it's the honeymoon phase, but I think I've been over enough obstacles today and through enough conditions to know if there was something that was already a problem. But it vibrates a little bit more than I'm used to on the hand, but I went to bike night in Galax, Virginia on Thursday, and a friend of mine showed me there are all kinds of like throttle guards or wrist busters, savers, all kinds of different things that people have created and designed to kind of help you have this like fake cruise control. This one was pretty neat. It was like a metal piece that went, and it just sort of locked, and it would hold. You just put it on top of the bar, but you can easily slide it on and off. And because the problem that I have with a lot of those like manual cruise control type things is that you don't really have control over them. There's like, at least in my head, it feels like there's a way that, oh shit, that could get stuck. You don't want your throttle stuck. This one actually seemed like it may be a pretty viable option, because on the long pavement like stretches, there is a little more vibration than I'm used to, and like my hands are kind of tingling. I don't want numb hands at the end of the day. Those sheep have just been shaved. Poor little naked sheep. We're at 65, actually a little over, and I mean, it feels very stable. And I'm sure if I was on less aggressive tires, it would feel even better, but I really like how these tires feel off-road. All right, so we are 10 miles from Bland. I'm assuming Virginia, but we have been in Tennessee today, so started in North Carolina, went to Virginia, rode through Tennessee, and then I think that we're now back in Virginia.
Thanks for riding along this first section of the Mid-Atlantic BDR. I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in next time to see part 2.